Okay, so typically what we do with the tyre pressures is we take them down to between 15 and 18 psi. Because these are highway tyres and they're just Pete and I out this morning, we'll take them out down to 15, which is kind of the lowest that typically we'd go for a desert drive on normal rims without the beadlock rims that hold them onto the rim. So yeah, we find the quickest way to go and deflate the tyres is just to quickly remove the valve. It takes just less than a minute typically, so you know, you've got under 5 minutes to go and do the rest of the tyres. There are some fancy devices that some people use. You can spend up to 800 dirhams, you know, $150 to go and get deflators, but honestly, a valve removal tool and also a tyre pressure gauge, and you can pretty much get the job done. I kind of like this ARB one because you can actually deflate as you go, so by pressing this, you can actually deflate, and you've got a very accurate gauge. So by the time we leave now to do our test, all of these tyres will be calibrated at 15 psi. Driving in the sand is all about traction. It's all about staying on top of the surface of the sand. And by deflating your tyres, it gives you a bigger footprint, basically in the desert. So you're less likely to get stuck. The other thing is you don't need to drive aggressively. You go gentle on the throttle, gentle on the brakes, because if you accelerate too hard, what happens? The tyres dig. You brake too aggressively, what happens? The tyres depress into the sand. And that makes it harder to basically recover yourself. Now, when we're heading into the desert, we tend to get tyre pressures. We tend to prefer tyre pressures of between 15 and 18 psi. Where in slightly softer conditions, 15 is the go-to. If you go down much less than that, you risk potentially separating the tyre from the rim if you have aggressive turns and these types of things. So if you do get stuck and you're at 15 psi, we recommend lowering the pressures to get you out of the situation, but carry a compressor so you can then go back up to 15 psi afterwards. I mean, if you are really stuck, you can actually go down to as low as 6 or 8, but I wouldn't recommend driving with those types of pressures. When the tyre does separate from the rim, there are ways to get that back on when you're in the middle of the desert, and we do teach people how to do that during our courses. We're not going to go into it today because it's a little bit complicated, and I don't want anyone to not get the full message in terms of how to do that, because it can be a little bit dangerous because it involves slightly jacking the vehicle. But it is possible to recover. But again, it requires a compressor within your vehicle. So as well as having, you know, a gauge to obviously reduce the tyre pressure properly, and you can do it with a stick or a stone, or you can do it with a valve removal tool. You don't need to spend 800 dirhams necessarily on, you know, specialist gear that will go and deflate your tyres for you. And again, these are things that we teach.